Episode 14 Thoughts. This episode is called calaMity. Another episode I love. Spoilers for everything live action X-Men leading up to and including this episode. The episode, I want to say it's rated 12 plus, so will this video be? Let's dive right in. Wow, they're really doing a great job building to the finale. There are only 2 episodes left, and yeah, they're really turning up the heat. Let's see. Yeah, let's start with the. So yeah, we open 4 years prior, and Benedict Ryan is only a radio host out of Maryland, and the manager of the. What did they? Yeah, I think they said management something doesn't even pay attention to the leaky roof, and yeah, and I think he had he put a cup to catch all the drops, and it filled, so he had to empty it. Like, that leak has been there for so long that he can't fix it himself, so he's putting a cup there to catch the drops so that it doesn't hit directly on the table. That is a I feel like if that's the equivalent of seeing a cockroach climb across and just gently picking it up and dealing with it. And then calling Palestinians inherently inferior to yourself, which is certainly a choice. Now, But yeah, that was when he met Reva, and she actually, one of the first things she said was that she has these powers. And yeah, pretty quickly manages to talk him into it, pointing out he's a con man, an opportunist. There are certainly some people who identify as Republican who that fits. So yeah. And let's see. Yeah, she points out, he ran for office and, various things. It's pretty clear that she's accurate in her assessment of him and his character. And let's see. Yeah, she tells him to hit the Morlocks in the tunnels, which, yeah, she's not wasting any time. It really is, I can't help but wonder, she still hasn't really gone after the mutant underground particularly. I mean, I doubt that it's a thing of, she just doesn't know where they are. I mean, the Frost girls did not have a problem finding Marcos. So and I let's see, I don't. No, wait, yeah, that was actually on Reva's orders, because the helping the baby, she was on board with that. So yeah, if she wanted to. So I can't help but wonder if she's thinking she might be able to turn them into inner circle, or maybe she is just saving them until last. I mean, does she really think the Morlocks are a serious threat compared to the mutant underground? I don't know. I'm not 100% certain what she's thinking there. I don't think it's bad writing. I don't think the writers just don't know what to do with that. And I don't think it's plot armor either. But yeah, they did a really great job of just building towards that. Holy crap, that, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure where Reva got all this intel on the Morlock tunnels, but I mean, let's see, did right, yeah, I think Evangeline had these detailed plans. Yeah, they didn't destroy the entire building, they destroyed enough of it that it killed Evangeline and the rest of the National Mutant Underground leadership, but they made sure to grab this sort of stuff afterwards. And it makes a lot of sense that Evangeline, yeah, she might have been thinking, we're gonna need the Morlock tunnels to get people across, and she's the one who knows about the Morlock tunnels it's like her part of the country, I think, is the idea. You know, the rest of the national leadership don't know about it, so she's... Holy crap. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think I'm gonna stick with the Morlock storyline for a little bit of this video before I move on to other stuff. Yeah, let's see. I suppose the next thing, yeah, you know, Benedict talks to Jace, and, you know, we are seeing Jace is gradually, you know, I can imagine some might feel too gradually, but he is gradually really having second and third and fourth thoughts about this whole thing. And yeah, you know, Benedict points out, if you pull this off, you could run Sentinel services, you know, and yeah, that's... I can see how, because that's going to be a really major, you know, one thing is that's going to be a major feather in his cap, you know, like who's going to turn down, you know, like, yeah, he was fired, but that's a pretty big win. You know, he said they looked for them for years. You know, they've never been able to arrest a Morlock. You know, which we know, you know, that's a big deal. They've been arresting mutants all over the place for years and years, you know, Sentinel services and regular cops. So, yeah. And, you know, that, yeah, that's one thing. And another is, you know, if Benedict Ryan pushes for having him made leader of Sentinel services, which, you know, he hasn't started doing that yet, but this could, you know, he's saying he's willing to do that, you know, if Jace succeeds at this. And yeah, let's see, and that is, of course, yeah, that motivates Jace a lot. And, you know, he is basically still telling himself that this is going to prevent another 715. Let's see, then we, he, you know, let's see, I think first it's Ted. I'm not sure if he is a father or not, is like, you know, yeah, introducing at the meeting. And I like how, you know, very careful cinematography. When Ted speaks, before Jace takes the you know, yeah, is the one who speaks to the Purifiers at the meeting. When Ted speaks, Jace is in frame, out of focus, but, you know, close enough to the camera that we can clearly see he is really, like, there's something, you know, the hamster wheels are turning. He is not, you know, there's some anxiety there, and it's not clear if it's that he feels bad about what they're about to do or if he's worried that they might fail. Now, let's see, I think, yeah, you know, Jace is trying to talk Ted out of going into the tunnels because he killed a kid, and Ted says, that's exactly why I have to do this, you know. And I appreciate the nonverbal, you know, he hands him the rifle, and that's like his way of saying, you know, you can come, just don't invite too many other people. There's only so many snacks to go around. And that was also great, like, the staging of that, of this, you know, we see, like, I guess ultimately maybe it's like 4 of the Purifiers be handed a gun, load it, and walk off. But that does say, yeah, they're going in there to kill. You know, this is not, you know, we're not seeing them, like, readying handcuffs or strips or something. No, this is, they're going in there to kill mutants. You know, they even said, you know, oh, I'm doing this for my grandson. I'm doing this for my daughter. And my axe. Ah, crap. I think I'm at the wrong meeting. And let's see. I think that brings us actually to when they reach the tunnels. And yeah, we're still seeing, you know, one of the mutants is like... Actually, yeah, I suppose, yes. Yeah, there's a couple of Morlock scenes. I appreciate, you know, Clarice pointing out. I'm really sad she's dead. I did really appreciate that we get, you know, she calls Marcos and is like, it's Blink. I mean, Clarice, you know, she's trying to figure out where she belongs, which identity, you know, suits her. And I hear this is something that, you know, yeah, a number of LGBTQ plus people, you know, they're trying to figure out their identity. And one of the things, you know, if you're socially transitioning, is choosing a new name and you know, yeah, going by that, having others refer to you by that. And let's see, you know, it does also work for that metaphor of the like Malcolm X, the thing of, you know, rejecting the name that their ancestors were given by, you know, slave owners. And yeah. But yeah, I really appreciated her confronting Erg and Mason and pointing out, you know, what kind of a community are we if we're not helping people. And when she, you know, talks to him again, and there's the thing about, you know, willing to listen, that's all that was really being asked for. And yeah, the meeting where they strategize was also quite good. And, you know, I really appreciate the thing about, you know, we gotta get the elderly, the women and children out, those who can't fight. And I think that just about gets us to the actual fight. Yeah, I appreciate the mutant, you know, that in an earlier episode, it was Marcos and Clarice, I think, who were trying to get into the Morlock tunnels, and they were, you know, there were these false walls and such. And yeah, that's still being done, and, you know, fortunately Jace has a map, so he can see, okay, well, this wall should not be here. And, you know, we still have Slimy McSlimerson using his slime to, you know, yeah, keep an eye on them and, you know, yeah, update the others as to where they are and such. And yeah, the bit with, like, the resident smoke monster, you know, getting a couple, like, ultimately, you know, that mutant only gets like 2 of them, but that's still, it's very tense. You know, and before the attack, you also have, like, the screeching that echoes and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, it makes some of the purifiers panic. And I really like the detail that, you know, Jace almost immediately says, you know, hold your fire. They're not really good, you know, they're rednecks with guns, you know, they don't have the kind of training that you would want, you know, and that's part of, you know, Jace is leading these people, like, they might almost end up shooting each other, you know, or yeah, hitting someone that, or otherwise hitting someone that Jace really doesn't want them to hit. Now, I think that pretty much gets us to, but yeah, you know, very, very tense, you know, suspenseful scene of several of them being, you know, of 2 of them being picked off, you know, and one of the purifiers, understandably, is like, oh, we're being aliens, game over, man, game over. And let's see, you know, meanwhile, you know, Beardo's off the, you know, by Jace, like, I saw that movie too, Raoul. And let's see, you know, ultimately they, you know, they try to, they fake a retreat, the you know, the purifiers. And, you know, it's too bad that you know, the Morlocks don't listen to Clarice, who points out that doesn't sound like Jace, you know, but she hasn't been with the Morlocks for that long. There's maybe not quite enough built up trust. And maybe they also think, you know, you keep asking for things that run counter to our philosophy. It was kind of silly when, you know, she walks in on Erg, like, changing a shirt, and, you know, we get a little bit, like, I'm not complaining, you know, I'm straight, so it's not my kind of thing, but, you know, it's not like the show never has, like, eye candy for us straight men, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with showing it. It just felt slightly like, okay, it was not quite necessary. It was giving, like, Daredevil season 1, you know, an otherwise really great season of television or streaming, I suppose, but yeah, that particular aspect did feel just, yeah. Now, I think, it's too bad, because I do think, like I said, most other things about Daredevil, all three seasons, great. I think Jessica Jones and The Punisher did better at making it actually mean something when there was, like, I suppose sexuality might be too, it wasn't really sexuality here, but, like, something that could lead to sexuality, that sort of thing. Yeah, and yeah, the yeah, Ted says, I got something, learned in Iraq, learned in Fallujah, and they already talked about, the halogene, yeah, the X gas, that part I'm sure about, that part of the name, and there's like, well, it's not enough to flood an entire tunnel. Yeah, I have an idea, and yeah, the bodies, the mutants go up to check them, of course, and yeah, they were rigged to blow with the X gas. I forget, but I feel like I've heard that that's a war crime. Let's see, if it's not a war, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are rules against it, and certainly we were told earlier, using the X gas was like against the Geneva Convention, I think they said, but they so yeah, they're breaking all the rules, baby. And let's see, I could go for watching something with Clive Owen and Natalie Portman. Anyway, yes, so that, yeah, takes out, like, Mason tries to get into the what do they call it, pump room or something, but he was hit by enough of the gas, he's not able to flood the tunnel, which, you know, you don't want to go that way. And let's see, yeah, I really appreciate that the purifiers end up going, they don't take the obvious route because they know, yeah, obviously they're waiting right on the other side of that, so they blow a hole in another wall. And yeah, it was very cool seeing the various mutants using, one of them throws stuff really hard, one of them, like, let's see, I think it's breath powers to like, push stuff hard up against them, which, yeah, it's decent as far as, and some of them do have, some of the mutants do have guns, the ones that don't have offensive powers. Or at least not ones that could be used for this specific situation. And yeah, as soon as they, Urg gets some more badass moments, and as soon as they realize, oh, wait, he can actually defend himself, suddenly they don't feel like fighting him. They like shooting these people that, like, I get, there was a firefight, but, they're specifically not shooting the guy who they think might actually be able to, it's some would call it cowardly, others might call it good tactics, but yeah, it's, and let's see, yeah, thankfully Urg does manage to get away, and the little girl, drops the teddy bear. Cable's gonna have words, and just before Clarice makes it through, she's shot right in front of John. Blood sprays on his face. Just, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that does cover every bit of the more right. The getting the Morlocks away in the cars was also quite effective. Right, this fits nicely here. I really appreciated the, although it's sad in retrospect because she ends up dying, but at least they did, Clarice and John do, make up, and there's that thing, John says, you next time you call me. Yeah, John, about that. And yeah, there's that, she's worried that he might not, she's like, I wasn't sure if you were going to come, and he's like, But I reached for the apple, though. And then Jacob fell off the chair laughing. And let's see. But yeah, I do appreciate that, John isn't like, so, little miss, this, I'm going off to be safe and not fight a hopeless crusade, now you need me. No, he's actually, he's like, the things I said, just, and I suppose that's, this is a fine place to put so, some of the cars do get away from there, and then you have, some police cars, surrounding the car that Caitlin is driving, and they pull out their guns and say, what was it, like, step out of the vehicle, and there's that thing, they're not going to negotiate a cab. And can you use your powers? I can't quite reach them. And we'll, like, they're not going to negotiate, and neither are we. Everybody get down. And she whips out the gun. Holy crap, she got badass. Like, did she go to a producer couple of, as they were writing, like, this isn't the first episode, but a couple of episodes ago when they were, like, writing, and she was like, there's this show called Alias. I don't know if you watched it. I was actually on that. Is there any way that you could, because I miss being such a badass, but that just, and, she's firing the guns and making the cops duck, and then she rams through, because they had blocked the path, but just, that was so cool. She's really, they're really pushing pushing how, making her more of a badass than she was when the show started. I love the bit where, like, she after she's fired fired the gun a couple of times, there's the big hole in the glass, and the camera travels in through that, and you get, like, determined face close up of the foot, step on the, really step on it, and just ramming through. So cool. So just, let's see, and let's see, Clarice talking to trying to avoid scaring the little girl, with the teddy bear, and she's like, I know it's difficult to, actually, wait, was that another part? Anyway, there's a part of the episode where she's like, I don't want to leave here either, this is my home too, for like 2 days, but still, and she's like, we'll be back. So I guess she's saying they're gonna crash a vehicle into it, Terminator style. And that covers the Morlocks, I think. So let's see, I really appreciate Caitlin, calling out Reed, like, you gotta tell me that, this is stuff you tell your wife, and Lauren, really struggling, and it's, the medication with and, suddenly she's, like, speaking in tongues, just, like, she moves her lips, and these, like, incomprehensible stuff comes out. I think it's, oh, right, German. Same thing. I'm Scandinavian. My country was occupied. I'm allowed to make fun of the Germans. And everyone's allowed to, whatever. And she's like, well, I'll never fail a German high school test, But and she's like, I'm not taking the medication anymore. And, I'm coming with you. And, they're in the car, and Reed says, I want to have a conversation. Failing that, maybe we could play Bug Slug. But, he's decided to stop taking the medication, and, there's that great line, I've been fighting the X gene my entire life. Before he knew he was a mutant, he's been fighting it. Not in himself, because he didn't know, but, he's been really, really intense with other, with other mutants before he knew he was one, before he knew any of his family were. Now, let's see, that might be about it for the Struckers, I think. If not, maybe I'll circle back later in this video. I think I've said everything about the Mutant Underground for this episode. Let's see. Is there anything else about the Mutant Underground? Like, I don't know. Was there maybe a character that it seemed like they were grievously injured, badly wounded, and then in this episode, it turns out all they needed was some gauze? Like, okay, maybe the idea is supposed to be that Marco's, like, you know, what's the word? He, like, closed his own wound with his powers. I don't know. That really did feel... maybe this worked better for people who watch these episodes a week apart. But let's see. I guess, yeah, it was yesterday. It's been... It has not been long enough for me to forget how badly... Like, it looked like he might have to spend this entire episode receiving medical attention. I don't know if somebody just, like, changed their mind partway through or what, but that did feel like... I'm okay with that bit where one episode ends with the Frosts, seemingly going to be able to control Lauren through Andy, but this was a bit... I still love the episode, I still love the show, but this was kind of... yeah. That, I think, just leaves the Inner Circle, and yeah, like, holy crap, so it starts with this thing of, Max has not returned, and that, Reva calls everyone in and says, we're gonna have to, this is serious, and, Lorna points out, maybe he's just sleeping off, and I do appreciate, Reva's like, let's hope that's all that it is, because, like, that is ultimately plausible. I mean, if we're being honest, he was not completely averse to the idea of having a sip of alcohol every once in a while. He pushed that to the max. I really like that Heather, like, stands up for, let's see, I think Lorna... Yeah, it was to Lorna. I'm afraid I forget the exact line, but Lorna says something, and Heather's like, you better watch it. Like, Heather could be kind of, like, honestly, there was a little bit of a, like, mother-son thing going, like, I don't mean, like, I think they might have been a couple, but I mean, she was, like, the responsible one, and she would be like, Max, you're not supposed to share about the mission. Now, did you go before we left? Because it's a long car ride. But, yeah, she doesn't actually think that he is just this, like, utterly hopeless case. She was harsh with him when she felt that was called for, but now she's really standing up for him. She does care. And let's see, we're told, there's going to be some restrictions, nobody leaves the building, the elevator's been cut off, and, Lorna's about to use the phone, and there's no signal, so, yeah, they know that someone, we have a spy in our midst, and, yeah, when... Let's see, I think they're in the training room. As soon as that scene is, ending, Esme says something about, we're going to find out who this is, and she gives Lorna a look. Like, she suspects her, and is like, don't make me do this. This is not the first time that she's been that way with Lorna. Like, this time she doesn't say it, though her eyes definitely do. but yeah, it's like, you know, you gotta, don't make me, because you know I gotta do what Riva says, and if Riva finds out about this, you're toast. And yeah, you know, let's see, yeah, the bit where, you know, Lorna, yeah, she's basically like telling Riva, you know, you're going really far with these security measures. And Riva has this excellent line that says, I would think you would want to know if someone was stabbing us in the back. Because it's just like, it sounds like she might seriously be suspecting her, but at the same time, the way it's worded, it's just vague enough that she might not be saying, you're the spy, aren't you? She might be saying, are you not taking this seriously? Do you realize how threatening this is to our entire cause? You know, so that was very nicely done. And yeah, you know, we have the bit about, you know, oh, someone logged in and, you know, to the security system, you know, and I will say I guessed who it was, you know, that it was going to be, that they were going to suspect Sage, but they didn't take forever to get to that. You know, when we see Riva say, you know, when you joined, you made a vow, you know, because that is the kind of thing, you know, it makes sense that she's saying that to Sage. It could also have been Lorna that she's talking, you know, like, I'm not sure that she would be saying that if it was one of the Frost girls, you know, because they were kind of always down for this whole thing, you know, but, you know, the former Mutant Underground people, yeah, it is this thing of, like, I can't believe I trusted you, you know. And, yeah, I like the detail of, you know, the Frosts can't read her mind. It's just ones and zeros. I think that does go. And the, you know, tell me, how can I prove myself to you? That's just it. You can't. And we get another excellent. I really appreciate, we don't see Riva use her powers like constantly. Like they're spreading it out enough that I'm still not like used to it or much less bored with it. You know, it's still so cool when she does the, yeah. And you know, just, yeah, pulls her best Cameron Vale face and kills Sage. And we also get the reminder of, you know, you did happen to mention that we were 98% secure, you know, our system was, which, you know, yeah, that does sound like, yeah, the kind of thing a spy might say. And you know, Lorna's, of course, devastated at hearing, you know, because, like, if she hadn't done that, Sage would still be alive, and they were friends, they were allies, I think, for several years before the Inner Circle, you know. And that is the kind of thing, you know, some spies have gotten, you know, purposefully or otherwise, have, you know, their actions have led to the deaths of others, including sometimes good people, you know, in the pursuit of the greater good. And, you know, Andy is like, well, I mean, of course Riva was gonna, you know, she's gonna have to kill any spy that she discovers, Lorna. Like, Lorna, hypothetically, if you, Lorna, turned out to be a spy, you, Lorna, I mean, Riva would definitely have to take care of you, Lorna. And I would be 100% on board with her doing that, Lorna. Why are you looking like that? Looking, yeah, whatever. Let's go with it. But yeah, you know, 98% secure. That does suggest that it wasn't an outside hacker. You know, if they doubled up, it would be 196%. Or is that not how that works? Whatever. I don't care. I don't major in math. And I think that might actually cover everything in the episode. Let's see. Yeah, I think that might be everything. Yeah, I thought they did a really great job with Lorna. Just, you know, every so often she'll say something, or, confront a certain character or something, it, she's it feels like she's getting to do something, which would, otherwise her scenes would be a little boring. It's like, okay, we're just kind of watching, let a character have some agency. She's fighting back, which makes it all the more, like, how is she gonna win? Like, this is not, obviously, Riva is not going to take well betrayal, and but yeah, Lauren is pushing back, but she's like saying and doing things that, to those who don't suspect her, like, if you suspect her, it might, raise a red flag or 100, but if you don't suspect her, and certainly, up to this point, like, Riva really does trust her. I wonder if by the end of the season she's going to realize, or maybe have been stopped or something. But yeah, at the same time, like, she did do things that Riva specifically wanted her to do, even as others, she, like, taking down the plane at the end of season 1, that was very, very against the Mutant Underground. So, and she's done a lot of she's followed orders. She was just following orders. But yeah, the thing she says, if you don't suspect her, it just sounds like she's frustrated with the situation, and I mean, she wasn't founder of the Max fan club, so, like, yeah, they're probably thinking, well, we knew she didn't like him. I guess she really didn't like him. She doesn't even really care if he's dead or if he was killed or something, She wants her phone call. And I think that actually does cover absolutely everything. So yeah. Holy crap. I can hardly wait. And fortunately, I won't have to wait very long to watch these last 2 episodes and find out what, yeah. So yeah, the Morlocks are on the run, or rather, the ones who can't fight, which makes them extremely vulnerable, and there's a lot of them, and the police are already looking for, and I mean, Lauren didn't, Caitlin didn't kill those cops. Now I'm saying that she should have. They're gonna be able to give the exact description of the car to other cops, maybe put out an APB, ASAT, and yeah, really, really, holy crap, they're building very nicely to a climax with the, yeah, with these episodes. Yeah, I feel like there's something, what could it be? I don't know, maybe there really isn't anything else. Yeah, that might be it. If I remember something, maybe I'll say it in my video on one of the next episodes, unless I forget again. But yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Gonna try to do the next episode really, really, really soon, so that I yeah. And of course, once I've done the finale, I will be doing a spoiler-free review as well. At least no spoilers for this show. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to spoil the movies or not, because I do feel like you can actually watch this show without having watched any of the movies. Like, this could be the first X-Men thing you get into at all, which I quite appreciate.